Hello again, everyone. I'm Daniel, the cross-cultural nerd, and I am back in China, back here in Luoyang. Very sorry I didn't get any content up while I was in the States for 3 weeks because we were insanely busy. We were we were going all around Kentucky and Alabama and Tennessee, showing my wife around and visiting family and friends and doing all sorts of stuff, and we had very little time at all. I literally touched my computer 2 times. That was it. So, um, yeah, extremely busy. So, very glad to be back, although I will miss home after this last visit. I've actually been back about a week and a half now. We've just been settling in and getting back into our routine. And my classes at the university I teach at start this week, actually. Classes start Monday, which for me is tomorrow. And for me right now is tomorrow. And I actually don't have any classes on Monday scheduled, so I actually start Tuesday. But I'm excited to get started with the new semester. So anyway, I would like to get this new set of videos started with a topic I've been thinking about for a while. Something that I've been kind of disturbed by the concept of. Something that appears in fiction from time to time, not super common, but still out there. The thought of essentially having your afterlife taken from you. The vast majority of the world is religious in some form, and I'm not going to get into too many specifics on here just because of all the religions out there, but typically you have to be a good person, follow certain religious rules, maybe believe in a certain person as one savior or something like that. Just being broad here. And at least according to those religions' doctrines, you'll have a good afterlife, some form of heaven or nirvana or something like that. Now, what if you were pretty confident you were destined for someplace like that? Or worse, what if you were already there and then something happened to take you to an afterlife that was far worse than where you were or what you would have had? Now, I went online and did a little research about this stuff. Thank you, TV Tropes. But I'm going to focus on two franchises which I already know fairly well already: Dungeons and Dragons and the Elder Scrolls game series. So if you know of any other examples, please put them in the comment section below. I know there are several at least, but we're going to focus on those two. So first we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and then about the Elder Scrolls series, and again, please leave any other examples that you know of in the comments below, because it would be interesting to see takes from other works on this concept. So there's this concept in Dungeons and Dragons called character alignment, and some players don't really utilize it, but it's typically used to characterize the moral alignment of a person or even a plane of existence. And it typically goes on an axis. Typically there's lawful and good, lawful and chaotic, that is adhering to laws or personal codes versus being a free spirit and doing pretty much what you want. And then of course there's good and evil. And so there'd be lawful, chaotic, good, evil. And typically someone would fit more or less in one of these little parts of the alignment. So someone could be lawful good, neutral good, chaotic good, lawful neutral, true neutral, chaotic neutral, lawful evil, neutral evil, and chaotic evil. And so at least in the D&D multiverse, typically if you lived your life in a way that would conform to one of these alignments, then for your afterlife, your soul might go to one of these planes that fits one of those alignments. So if you lived a pretty good life, you might go to Mount Celestia, or Bitopia, or Elysium, or some similar place for good people, depending on if you're lawful good, neutral good, or chaotic good. Now, there are planes that correspond to hell in various ways, and those are, of course, for evil people. There's the nine hells for people who were lawful evil. There's the abyss for people who are chaotic evil. And at least in the D&D multiverse, their souls will basically go into those planes as the absolute lowest, most despicable form of devil or demon. And not a good place to be, of course. And so let's say that you are a person who's been living a really good life. You're pretty darn confident you're going to go to one of the places for good people. There are creatures out there that can essentially send you to one of these places, for one of these evil planes. There are creatures that can send you to the nine hells. So let's say you're a really good person, and this is taking stuff from Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. Suddenly, there's an invasion, an infernal invasion, an army with hellfire engines and Narzugons, excuse me. And something happens, and you get in the sights of one of these things, and a hellfire engine hits you with its hellfire weapon, and you die from it. Or a Narzugon charges you and kills you with its hellfire lance, and you die. You lived your life as a good person, but if you die from one of these things, from one of their hellfire weapons, your soul comes back as a Lemure, the lowest form of devil in the nine hells, in a matter of hours. Between 1 to 4 hours, unless you got some serious magic in the hands of some of your friends. And if they're too late, they pretty much need a wish spell, or they need to keep your body around, come down and find the specific Lemure that is you, out of millions, kill that thing, and then use true resurrection on your body. So, I mean, there's still a teensy little spark of hope, but not much. And this is despite the fact that you lived your life in a very good way. These things can still take that from you. And considering how at least the rules of the game are, if a creature dies by that weapon, what happens if an infernal army invades the upper planes? If they invade Mount Celestia or Bitopia and start going after people who live up there. I mean, they're already basically in heaven, and suddenly they're getting dragged into hell. That's a horrifying concept to me. Now, it's not just something hellish that some of these people might have to worry about. What if they're adventuring, they go down into this old crypt, these old catacombs, and come across a lich, and a lich steals their soul and puts it into their phylactery for later use. They're in there for 24 hours, and then boom, their soul ceases to exist, unless you have a wish spell that can restore it. In that way, you wouldn't just be robbed of the afterlife you were previously destined for, you'd be robbed of an afterlife, period. Kind of scary. Now, there are no doubt other examples in the D&D literature and other stuff like that, but we're going to move on to the Elder Scrolls. Now, in the Elder Scrolls, there are basically these gods slash demigods in the universe, the Aedra and Daedra. The Aedra are typically good. Like, they're almost all good, as far as I know. The Daedra have kind of a mix of alignments. A couple of them are somewhat good by mortal standards, but a lot of others are often viewed as evil just due to what they do. Sometimes due to having a moral standard that's completely alien to ours. Other times it's just they are straight up evil, trying to dominate everyone and whatnot. Now, a couple of these Daedra are responsible for certain creatures like vampires and werewolves. The Daedric Lord, or the Daedric Prince Hircine, is known for werewolves. They're his domain. And then the Daedric Prince Molag Bal is known for vampires. According to the in-universe myth, he created the first vampire through means which I will not go into here. And so, confirmed, werewolves, when they die, go to Hircine's little realm of Oblivion. Oblivion is this plane of existence that is kind of hard to explain, but various beings, especially the Daedra, have their own pockets of Oblivion set up as their realms, and they take different forms. Hircine's realm of Oblivion, the hunting grounds, is where werewolves go when they die. And even if you were not willing to become a werewolf, if you become a werewolf by any means and stay that way, you do not get yourself turned back. You go there when you die. And spoilers for the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. There's a character in the Fighters Guild, or should I say the Companions quest line, where the Harbinger of the Companions, like their Elder Counselor, Codlag Whitemane, really pious Nord, and good person, lived a great life, fought valiantly, and Nords who live well and fight valiantly are supposed to go to their afterlife of Sovngarde, and he's very pious, and he's wanting to look for a way to reverse his lycanthropy. But before he can, in the course of the quest line, the Companions' archenemies come and they raid your headquarters and kill Codlac. And so, instead of Sovngarde, he is sent to the hunting grounds of Hircine. And you are able to redeem him from that, but if other people stay werewolves, they still go there. And now, to some people, that's not so bad. To another person in the inner circle of the Companions, Ayla, she likes the thought of that. She likes being part of the hunt. She likes being a werewolf. She's perfectly happy with the concept of going to that plane of existence and after she dies and being a werewolf with a Hircine for eternity. Now, vampires, though, supposedly they go to Molag Bal's realm of Cold Harbor. And that is not a nice place. In the Elder Scrolls Online, at the very beginning, you wake up as someone who's basically been killed on the altar of Manamarco's ambition and basically been sacrificed by his by his cult of cronies, essentially, his worm cult. And you wake up in Molag Bal's plane of Oblivion. And you wake up in Cold Harbor and find out, hey, you're dead. And you actually escape, but as you look around, it's these people who are basically dominated slaves. Molag Bal is known as the King of Rape, so that right there, I mean, nothing like that is shown, thankfully. But from what you hear and read about him in other games, he's not a very nice person, and his pocket of Oblivion is not a good place at all. Probably one of the worst parts of the entire Elder Scrolls universe. And supposedly vampires go there when they die. Now, what if you were unwillingly turned? I didn't see anything that might indicate that you might go to a different place, but yeah. Now, granted, vampires are typically evil, not universally so. There are there are exceptions, like the Court Mage of Solitude in Skyrim, and Serana in Skyrim's expansion Dawnguard. But still, like, let's say you were unwillingly turned and you become a vampire and then get killed, and you might have been bound for some other place in your afterlife, but now that got messed up because you got bitten. Too bad for you. There's another Daedric prince called Mehrunes Dagon, and he is the main bad guy of the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. And supposedly, if you are killed by his legendary weapon, Mehrunes Razor, which is this dagger that has the potential to kill instantly, if you're killed by this weapon, supposedly your soul might go to his part of Oblivion called the Deadlands, and you can go there many, many times in Oblivion, and pardon the noise, there's construction outside, but supposedly your soul might go to his part of Oblivion called the Deadlands, and it's basically a lava-filled hell, essentially, with towers full of other Daedra that are perfectly willing to cause you suffering. Now, let's say the Daedra have nothing to do with your death. Let's say somehow you get soul trapped. In enchanting, typically people will use soul gems to enchant items, and typically it'll be the soul of a non-sentient creature, like some form of animal. But the greater the soul, the bigger and more powerful the soul gem. And so you can soul trap some great big monster in a grand soul gem, whereas the soul of a rat might be in a petty soul gem, something like that. Now, sentient souls would be stored in a black soul gem, and those are heavily frowned upon in universe. People see black soul gems, they think, oh my gosh, there's an evil mage, because black soul gems trap sentient souls. So like someone could cast soul trap on me, then kill me, and suddenly my soul is trapped in this gem. And doesn't matter if I've lived a good life or not, my soul's trapped in this thing. And then once it's used in enchanting, the soul in that black soul gem gets sent to a place called the Soul Cairn. And it doesn't matter if they're pious or not, their soul gets sent to this place. And it's a place run by these inscrutable beings called the Ideal Masters, who apparently were powerful magicians who ascended to a higher form of existence and cordoned off their own plane of oblivion or whatnot, and started trafficking in the souls that were trapped in soul gems. And anyone who has been trapped in a soul gem gets sent here. And it's this place that's dark and dreary and lots of psychological torment. You're constantly burdened with the whole, oh my gosh, why am I here? What have I done to deserve this? That sort of thing. These Ideal Masters will sit up above the plane, sit up above the land, and siphon power from anyone who gets too close. There are undead roaming around in places that will try to go after people. And even if you hide, it's just a place of psychological torment. And you did nothing to deserve it. It's just a place that someone sent you to. Even if you were bound for your own afterlife, if you were on your deathbed and someone soul traps you and stabs you on your deathbed, guess what? You're going to this place. Which, again, just the thought of being confident you're going to the afterlife you're destined for, only to have that ripped away from you. Now, typically, once you're in your afterlife, you're safe, right? Well, again, spoilers for Skyrim here. In Skyrim, near the end of the main quest, you have defeated the great dragon Alduin, who has come back from a very long absence from the world. You you've claimed the upper hand in a fight. I won't say defeated. And he runs away to get away from you. And to build his power, he finds a portal to Sovngarde, which again is the Nordic afterlife. Goes into that portal, where all the souls of valiant, good, pious Nords have gone, and he starts consuming the souls to build up his power. So these people have been in their afterlife for anywhere between a few days, because there's a civil war going on at the time, to hundreds of years or thousands of years. And suddenly there's this great big freaking dragon in there eating them, and in theory destroying their souls. So it's like, you think you're safe in the afterlife, and then some crazy stuff like that happens, and suddenly your afterlife is no longer heaven per se, at least until this threat is gone. Now, you do defeat Alduin in the end, but just the concept of that. And you, when you first arrive there, when you're going after Alduin, you go through the portal yourself, and you see someone in front of you walking through this mist caused by Alduin, and suddenly the dragon comes down, swoops down, and picks him up right in front of you and eats him, consuming his soul to bolster his own power. And yeah, it's one thing to have it's one thing to be destined for one afterlife and have that taken from you forcibly and forcing you into another. But when you're already in your afterlife and you're already in your heaven, and suddenly you're ripped from your heaven into destruction, that would be the stuff of nightmares. Imagine being in heaven and then someone invades heaven and starts yanking people down to hell, or starts just destroying your soul. Now, I mean, Dungeons and Dragons is a great game system. The Elder Scrolls series, those are some awesome games. But still, I mean, some of the stuff in there, some of the stuff done by bad guys, can be the stuff of nightmares. And it's a good thing I play on the side of good. So, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments about me, about the video, or about anything else, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Again, if you know of any other examples, leave those in the comments. I'd love to see them. Don't forget, follow me on Twitter at xculturalnerd and on Facebook at the Cross-Cultural Nerd. I'm Daniel, the Cross-Cultural Nerd, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. It's good to be back.